So first and foremost, I really hope that all of you guys are staying safe right now. I know a lot of you guys no doubt now have a surplus of free time, something that I'm sure a lot of you guys are definitely not used to. But I mean, hey, what better time is there than to start a new MMO, right? Thankfully, you guys have Daddy Sticks right here to let you all know exactly what's going on in the MMO world right now. You know, like what games are being updated, what games are coming out, what games are shutting down. So if you're searching for something, this video right here might be the video to end your suffering. So with that in mind, sit back, maybe crack open a beer, grab a bag of Doritos, or heck, a hot dog, or both. And let's jump right into this week's Weekly Byte of MMORPG news. So Genshin Impact's second closed beta began last Friday and a lot of players got in. Unfortunately, I only applied with one email and I didn't get in, but honestly, I was more or less waiting for its full release either way. A lot of people have shared their opinions on the game during the closed beta, and it seems as though reception has been very positive. I don't think I have seen nor spoken to a single person that has said that the game was bad. Granted, the only people I speak to are those that play games on the PC or console, so I don't really know what mobile players thought of the beta, but regardless, when they finally announce the full release of the game, it is gonna do very well for MiHoYo. There's currently no information on whether this will be the final closed beta before it inevitably launches, but I will make sure to keep all of you guys updated regardless. So I have a more in-depth video on Ascent Infinite Realm coming next week, maybe a little later, but Bluehole, the team behind both Air and Terra, have been very quiet with regards to releasing any new information over the last, how long has it even been at this point? Like 6 months, 8 months, a year? The last update was back in August 2019, so yeah, almost about 8 months. Man, either way, an image was released with the title Air Reverse, stating that it has been a long time you're waiting, which I know is broken English, but it was followed by the date of April 1st, 2020. Honestly, I have no idea what this means, and it's anyone's guess. I mean, honestly, I really hope that this is not like some really bad April Fool's joke, because if so, that is going to be made in really poor taste. But either way, an event is being held currently asking for players to vote on whether they believe it's true that the combat system employed in Air will change to an action combat system. This is a very weird poll to have, especially since the vast majority of players have stated repeatedly that after their success with the combat system in Terra, an improved action system would have been ideal for Air. Does this mean that they're looking to overhaul the combat system? I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. If you weren't already aware, then Fractured on March 25th entered their latest phase of alpha testing. The alpha will last for several weeks and is being used to test out new features like the ability to party up, finally, guilds, and land ownership, all of which are tied to one another. Classes are also being overhauled with the introduction of new abilities and a completely new zone for new players. Unfortunately, this alpha test is not available for everyone. Instead, it's aimed at players that purchase the Legend Founders Pack. Now, like Air, I am going to have a much more detailed video on this sometime next week, maybe a little later, but suffice it to say, Chronicles of Elyria is pretty much dead in the water right now. A lot of people were highly anticipating Chronicles of Elyria. I mean, I personally thought that it looked pretty solid myself at one point. Back before I realized that backing indie games, or at least backing indie MMOs, was a higher risk than gambling. They managed to raise almost $1.5 million from fan backing, and after 4 years of delivering nothing but false promises, it turns out that the CEO of Soulbound Studios announced that he'd halted all development on the game. Additionally, he laid off all employees, every single one. This is due to a complete lack of funds. And I quote, "After 5 long months of only limited crowdfunding revenue coming in, Soulbound Studios has officially run out of money." This is what he said in a public statement. In essence, he blamed the community for not continuing to funnel money into a game that after 4 years has no playable form, and further went on to blame investors themselves. Like, guys, I'm not really one to call out individuals for choices they make, but this guy right here, this guy is the very definition of a cockwaffle. Like, seriously, it's your guys' fault that we can't afford to continue funding game development for another 4 years. Like, are you serious? Dude, are you serious? This is actually in follow-up to Chronicles of Elyria shutting down, but in a pathetic attempt to win over even a fraction of Illyria's player base, the devs behind Shroud of the Avatar announced that they're happy to find players a home within their game, since they're no doubt disappointed with the notice of closure. It's just... come on. No. Really? I announced earlier this week, on Monday I think it was, that Nexon was shutting down MapleStory 2. This was shocking to a lot of players, considering the game hasn't even been online for 2 years yet. The closure is going to take place on May 27th, so if you ever wanted to try the game out, this might be the only opportunity you will have. MapleStory 2 launched to over 42,000 concurrent players on Steam alone, and a significant portion more via the official Nexon launcher. As of today, there are approximately 200 people online via Steam. That is an unprecedented drop. They attempted to overhaul the game and a lot of issues the game was having with their Project New Leaf initiative, but that fell through. It's unconfirmed exactly why they're shutting the game down, but there's definitely a lot of speculation going around, none of which I'm going to talk about because it is all player opinion. Here is a title that you may never have heard of. High Treason. Granted, it's a little niche. Full loot permadeath MMOs are definitely not a popular game type in the genre, but at the same time, this provides a market for players that are interested in PvP-oriented MMOs. And that's what High Treason is. It's a PvP MMO that allows you to, much like any traditional MMO, complete quests, run dungeons, loot entire towns, and most importantly, do it while dodging other players. I've never been interested in PvP-oriented MMOs or MMOs that have a complete focus on PvP, but I do enjoy participating in PvP in-game. If you were wondering when Population Zero was going to be available, you will be happy to learn that it is expected to launch sometime during May on Steam. The game is going to be buy to play at $30, and honestly, from what I've seen, might be one of the better looking survival MMOs. Recently, ahead of their upcoming launch, the team behind the game opted to release a brand new developer diary video on YouTube detailing world design and exploration. It is definitely worth watching if you're interested in the world you're going to be inhabiting, or you just want to see more of what's going to be available to play through. Closers is rarely in the news because, honestly, other than the odd event here and there, the game just doesn't really offer much new content. However, I did talk about this a couple weeks ago, specifically the Busan update that brings with it a plethora of new content, including new zones to explore and play through. If you've ever been interested in playing Closers, then I recommend trying it out right now. Blade & Soul just pushed out their latest patch titled Forgotten Souls. A brand new dungeon was added called the Stone Scale Passage, and 2 events are currently beginning, the Ebon Hunting Grounds and Call to Arms event. There's also new accessories in the form of a necklace, a belt, ring, and updated PvP bonus effects. Oh, and of course Hong Moon levels have been increased, because grinding for more levels is always fun. This is actually good news for fans of the Lord of the Rings Online MMO and Dungeons & Dragons Online. Standing Stone Games, in light of players being stuck at home, have decided to make all content completely free and available up until April 30th, 2020. Both games will also feature additional events for players to participate in while the games remain completely free. If you've ever wanted to try out Lord of the Rings Online but opted not to due to the sheer amount of content gated behind a paywall, then I would suggest taking the time to jump in right now. You might not end up with another chance to try the game out. It seems like every MMO these days are releasing roadmaps, which is fine. I mean, like, I like them. It gives us a semblance of what we have to look forward to after all. In Albion Online, the next update will introduce a brand new type of solo dungeon. Unlike PvE dungeons though, this dungeon, while yes, PvE oriented, will allow players to take possession of monsters and attack players while they're trying to make their way through it. Honestly, like, to me personally, this seems like a really weird idea, a very unusual approach to take. Like, I can see the appeal, but at the same time, I can see the potential for like a certain type of griefing to take place for certain players. There are also adjustments coming to combat, new gear, new features, faction warfare, and more. Honestly, there's a lot to go through. So if you're interested in reading more, I urge you to go and check out the official forums for more info. Here is an MMO that I guarantee you have never played before, or heck, even heard of before. It was released onto Steam in early access a little over a year ago, but has just launched a Kickstarter campaign that has raised almost $30,000 with only 25 backers. That is insane, like literally insane. No other way of putting it. What else is insane though is the kind of game that this is. It is a sandbox MMO that allows you to play with art. That is it. You design and build your own art gallery, and then you curate your very own art collection. It is honestly the weirdest MMO I've ever had the pleasure of looking at, and that makes me very interested in seeing where it ultimately ends up going. And now in the most important news of all, Blue Protocol has a confirmed Japanese closed beta date at last. Yeah, it ultimately got delayed from mid-March, but the game will be rolling out its beta test on April 23rd. That is a little over 3 weeks away. The closed beta in question is not going to be very long though, beginning on April 23rd and lasting until April 26th. They revealed on March 30th that results for the closed beta application test will be announced, with players receiving emails with beta keys shortly after, ranging from March 30th through April 6th. The game will become available for pre-download on April 20th, and after the closed beta period ends on the 26th, there will be another questionnaire for players to fill out. I'm gonna have a more detailed video on this update and all of the information that is currently available for the game coming, so stay tuned for more info next week. Hopefully you guys are as excited as I am. And that's it. That is all of the news that has been brought to my attention over the last 2 weeks. If you know of anything I missed, then feel free to let me know in a comment below. Hit me up on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, or even through Discord with a link to the article so I can talk about it. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.
Someday soon I'm gonna make it. Yeah, all hard work's gonna be worth